on paper, there's no arguing Team USA is the better lineup. I mean, odds makers clearly show that. They have USA listed as over minus 500 money line favorites and -2 on the goal line. So big spread for a soccer match. And, it's hard to get down on USA trying to lay. You're not going to lay minus 500, obviously, in the money line. And laying 2 goals, I mean, it's hard to ask anybody, no matter how lopsided it may seem, to win by 3 goals or more. So the question here isn't really, how, if USA will win, it's kind of how to get, down on USA. And I think I have a pretty good angle here to do that. Listen, it's really a great first match for USA because Bolivia is the weakest team in the Common Bowl, and that's the South American Federation. And so they're the weakest team in South America. Perfect team for them to open up against. They rank 84th in the world. USA has climbed up to 11th actually right now in the FIFA World Rankings. And it's no secret that the Americans, USA, has been producing soccer talent at a much higher level here in recent years. And really, there's no better example of that than just looking at the roster on this competition. If you go back, 10 years, Team USA was, 80, 90% MLS players. And that's no knock on the MLS leagues, but we know, in the world of soccer, the best talent, the best players, the biggest clubs in the world are over in Europe. And now of the 26 players named to the Copa America roster this year, there's only 3 that are playing in the MLS. The rest are playing in Europe. And, they've become several big household names, and they're playing with big clubs. Obviously, Christian Pulisic with AC Milan's, the headliner. Weston McKennie on Juventus. Tim Way on Juventus. Gio Reyna, who was a great young player, was with Dortmund. Now he's with Nottingham Forest. So there's a lot of talent on this USA team. And, it's, again, you lay out the lineups compared to Bolivia, it's very lopsided as far as Team USA goes. But, the game's not played on paper, it's played on the field. And, Bolivia, I don't want to say they can be a tricky team, but, if you take them for granted or you look past them, you could get caught. They warmed up before this tournament with 3 friendlies. 3 losses, kind of expected for the team. They conceded 7 goals in the process. They only contributed 1 themselves. And if you go back to the World Cup qualifying this past fall, you're going to see very consistent results out of Bolivia. They lose a ton of games, and they concede quite a bit of goals. The old 3-0 loss seems to be their favorite way to lose. Because of goal differential, Kelly, in this tournament, this is not an easy group to necessarily progress out of. USA isn't guaranteed to get out of this group. Uruguay is probably the favorite coming out of this group, even though USA might be ranked a little higher. Uruguay is a really, really good team. And Panama can be sneaky as well. So goal differential could come into play here, which just means USA shouldn't take their foot off the pedal with a 1-0 or 2-0 type of lead. Let's assume they have that lead. So I like the angle that USA is going to keep pushing. I like the angle that Bolivia's defense stinks. No matter what you're doing, they're just going to concede goals. So the way I'm looking here, Kelly, is if you get on USA to win the match and you parlay that with over 2.5 goals, we can bring that price down to -140. So we're looking for USA to win and over 2.5 goals. I think -140 is a fair price. 3-0 seems very likely. Listen, if Bolivia gets on the board, this thing is going to have a very, I think, easy way to cash. But USA could do all the damage themselves in this one. But I like USA to open with a win. Not a huge fan of laying the goal line or the money line spread, so I like this combo as a good way for their first match.